Hello and welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome for the first time. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This week, I'm doing a $25 dinner challenge. So for 5 dinners, I will feed my family of 4 for $25. In the past, I have made these videos one day for one dinner, so 5 individual videos. I'm going to try something a little different this week. I'm going to put them all into one video. So it will be a little bit faster paced, but I do think this makes a little bit more sense to have all the dinners for a $25 challenge in one video. If you'd like a list of the groceries that I purchased, I will leave those in the description box below, as well as some of the recipes. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get going on dinner number 1. Here are the groceries that I picked up to feed my family for the next 5 dinners. Let's start over here with the produce. We have 2 Roma tomatoes, a stalk of broccoli, 1 corn on the cob, a couple of red onions, and 2 pounds of carrots. Here we have some pasta. This was a substitution. I wanted the store brand, but they subbed this brand, which is perfectly fine. A bag of instant potatoes, pizza crust, a small can of salsa, a Hunt's pasta sauce, a can of biscuits, a box of mac and cheese, a small bottle of vegetable oil. This is the one from Dollar Tree. We have 1 pound of rice, or 1 pound of pinto beans, and 10 corn tortillas. And then over here we have the small pack of bacon. It's 4 pieces. This is what's available at Dollar Tree. And then we have a pound of pork sausage and a couple pounds of chicken thighs. And then over here we have 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese and a Dollar Tree block of cheddar cheese, which is 3 ounces. Here are the ingredients we will need for dinner number 1. The penne, the cheese packet from the macaroni and cheese box, the pasta sauce, most of it, and 2 ounces of the mozzarella cheese block, about half the package of the pork sausage, and these 3 carrots. Saving these scraps for later on in the week when I make chicken broth. I've opened the pasta sauce and I'm going to save a cup of it for later on in the week. Now I'm going to cut the 2 ounces of mozzarella I'm going to use today and put the rest of it back in the fridge, and also the half of the sausage. Do my best to cut it exactly in half. And first thing we're going to do is, after I refrigerate the other half, we're going to put this half of the sausage into a pan. Also, let's get some water boiling for the pasta. In the saucepan, I'm going to cook the pork sausage. And then once that is cooked, we're going to add the sauce in. The sausage is nice and cooked and browned, and now I'm going to add the other 2 cups of that pasta sauce that I am not saving for later on in the week. I'm just going to let that simmer together while the pasta is cooking. My water is boiling. I'll be salting my water, and I'm going to go ahead and cook the whole box of pasta. We're not going to need all of it, but I'm going to cook it so it saves us time later on in the week. Just going to save the leftovers. My noodles are finished. I'm going to use this spider here to strain my noodles into my colander because I want to save the pasta water. Now into my sauce, I'm going to, it's okay, I'm dripping some of the pasta water. I'm going to put about 2/3 of this into there. Now I'm going to put the macaroni and cheese sauce packet in there. Some of the pasta water. I'm also going to put a little bit more noodles in there. This is done. Last little bit here that we're going to do is add the mozzarella on top. This is the 2 ounces that I cut from that block. I use the fine shred because I feel like I can get better, more even coverage over the pasta. This made a lot of food. We still have a whole generous serving left after all of us ate to fullness. So I would say this meal makes 5 servings. Day 2. For tonight's dinner, I'm going to be using 3 of the chicken thighs right over here. I'm also going to be saving the skins and the bones of all the thighs to make our broth for tomorrow. And then we have the package of the instant potatoes, and I'm also going to use, if just the noodles are left in here, so I'm going to cook those up. And then we have the leftover noodles from yesterday in case somebody doesn't want the potatoes. And then we have vegetables, onion, broccoli, and carrots. And the oil today. And then I did take out the salt, pepper, and garlic powder for seasoning. Let's get started by separating that chicken. Here is the chicken all separated. As you can see on this cutting board, I have the 3 thighs, and they're cut into smaller pieces so that they pan fry quickly. And then in the Ziploc, I have all the skin and bones from all 4 pieces, and then the extra thigh that I'm going to save for tomorrow. And here we have all the veggie scraps that I'm saving for tomorrow's chicken broth. Here we have our medley of vegetables, broccoli, red onion, and carrots. And to this I will be adding 2 tablespoons of oil and then some shakes of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. I'm going to mix that up really well, and that will go in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. I've put a small amount of oil in this saucepan here, and I've turned my heat on to medium heat. And then I seasoned the chicken with a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder on both sides. Over here on this burner, I'm also bringing a small saucepan of water to boil to cook these shells that are left in the macaroni and cheese box. Now it's time to cook that chicken. I'm going to go ahead and get all these pieces in, and I will cook them on this one side, and then I'll flip them over and cook them on the other side until they're done. The chicken's all done. These are done. I'm going to drain them, and then we'll put a little bit of oil and a little bit of garlic and probably pepper on it so they're pretty. I have this set up here for our potatoes. I'm boiling 2 cups of water because that's what this package says to do. Boil 2 cups of water and then put that in there. Fluff it with a fork. Here is our day 2 dinner. Look at those colors. It is wonderful to be able to have such wonderful colors in a budget meal. There's our chicken, the instant mashed potatoes, which I tried, and they're not the greatest. This store brand that I use is not very good. I would highly recommend just maybe getting a couple of russet potatoes and cooking those. That would be better. Even though it would be less per person, I think that would be a better decision than that store brand instant potatoes. Then we have the rest of the noodles, which will probably be a godsend today considering the instant potatoes. That's the noodles from the macaroni and cheese box. And I've added some oil, garlic, and black pepper. And then we have the noodles from yesterday. So overall, this will definitely fill our bellies. I lost a lot of audio for this day, so this is a lot of voiceovers, which I know some people prefer. It's just I have to remember what exactly I did so I can relay the correct information to you. Here are our day 3 ingredients. Here is the bag of chicken. There are the 4 pieces of skins and bones, and then we have the 1 chicken thigh. And then we have the vegetable scraps, 3 carrots, some rice. Then we have these spices, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. We're going to need those when we're making our chicken stock. If you have some parsley, feel free to use it. It'll add a nice touch of color. I'm also using this small can of buttermilk biscuits and some oil. The first thing I'm going to do today is make some chicken broth. Into this stock pot, I have placed all of our veggie scraps. And now I'm going to put in all of the chicken skins and the chicken bones. The thigh, the whole thigh that's still left, I have not put that in there. I'm putting that back in this bag, and I'm going to put that in the fridge for now. I started by adding 6 cups of water, but later on you will see I did end up adding an additional 2 cups. Now I'm putting in some garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper generously. I did not measure, I just shook from the shaker. You can always add more later when you taste it, but don't taste it until the chicken is fully cooked. Just getting all the vegetables pushed in under the water, and at this point I realize I do need more water. So I will be adding in another 2 cups of water. Now I'm going to cover the whole thing, put a lid on it, let it come to a boil, and then turn it down to a simmer for several hours. Okay, well there's our broth. It's been cooking for about 4 hours. I think it's actually fine and done. Here's the thing though, guys. Quite honestly, I would rather use some chicken bouillon cubes, because I can guarantee you it was more costly to run this electricity for this long. And it probably warmed up my house a little bit too, which is not good. So I would honestly say you don't need to sit there and make chicken stock if you don't want to. If you have bouillon cubes in the house, like let's say at least 3, I would just make the chicken rice soup with that. I'm going to go ahead and strain all the stuff out. I have the broth all strained and separated here. I'm also leaving all the chicken fat in there for flavoring. I've moved to a smaller saucepan. So now it is time to go ahead and you gotta bake the biscuits, peel and slice some carrots, and then in here is the chicken thigh. So I've got to get that cut up, and then we got our rice that we're gonna add to our pot. So let's get all that going. I've turned the heat on, so we have carrots and the chicken in here, and now I'm going to add 1 cup of rice. And here in a moment I change my mind and add in an additional 1/2 cup. 1½ cups of rice total. It'll end up being quite thick with the rice, and it'll soak up most of the broth. but this is what we're going with. 1.5 cups of rice, and then the rest of the rice, which is about 1 cup, is what's left. That we will be using on the last day. I measured out the rice that was left in the bag, so I knew how much I would have for tomorrow, and I have 1 cup and about 2 tablespoons left. Once your soup has come to a boil, it's going to be about 20 minutes from that point until everything's done. The most important thing is, of course, to make sure that the chicken gets cooked all the way through. And 20 minutes in boiling water should be plenty of time. I'm also going to get these biscuits going. They go in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. A little update on how it's going. The soup is ready. As you can see, it is super thick with that 1.5 cups of rice we put in. Let's see, over here we have the biscuits. I'm going to be putting the oil and garlic on them now, and that's just to give them a little bit of flavor. Last time I made them that way, my kids really liked it. Okay, so here we have our biscuits, and here is our soup. No doubt this is enough to fill us up, for sure. Is it the most exciting meal? No, but that's okay. I'm going to get some meal prep done for tomorrow's meal. I'm going to let these pinto beans soak in some water on the counter overnight. First, I'm going to sort and rinse these beans. Then they're going in that bowl, and I will fill that up with water and leave it on the counter overnight. This here now is the following day. I drained out the beans from their initial soaking, placed them in my pot, added plenty of water. Then I added in some spices, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. I'm going to give that a stir, close it up, let it come to a boil, turn it down to simmer, and let it go for about 1.5 hours. And here are our ingredients for our dinner tonight. So we have our vegetables, corn, carrots, tomatoes, the other half of the pork sausage, what was left of the rice after yesterday's meal, which, by the way, everybody loved that soup, and it was really filling, and it was plenty for our dinner. Then we have our spices and our oil, and then we have the pinto beans. We're not using all those pinto beans. That's the whole pound of pinto beans. We're not going to use them all. But let's get this started. I'm going to start by getting these vegetables cleaned up. And I got to thaw out the pork sausage because, well, I forgot to do that. I forgot to pull the onion out. I'm also going to use the onion with today's meal. In a saucepan, I'm going to put some of the oil. I put it in a fair amount because I need to not only pan fry the veggies, but I'm going to also end up pan frying the rice. So there's the carrots and the onions. I'm going to get the corn off the stalk, but that doesn't need to cook near as long as these two. I'm going to season them with some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And these vegetables are good. I'm going to add the sausage. I've been trying to thaw it out, so got some of it thawed out, some of it not quite. But putting in that other half of the sausage. Now that I got my sausage all cooked up, I'm adding in my rice. I'm going to pan fry that a little bit. Now I'm going to add in my pinto beans. I'm going to add in 1.5 cups because I believe that is the equivalent of what a can of pinto beans would be. So that it'd give you a good idea of what it would look like if you did a can of them instead of, you know, cooking them from their dry form. And now I'm going to add some water. This is just a little bit over 2 cups of water. I need to get the corn and the tomatoes in, but I actually haven't chopped the tomato yet. I'm just going to chop up one of them, and then we'll get that in there. All right, here is the corn and the tomatoes. A few shakes of salt. A little bit of garlic powder. I'm not going to put in onion powder because we got an onion in there. I don't really see the need to add more of that. And pepper. Wonderful. All right, I'm going to cover that and let that cook for about 20 minutes. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. I'm going to give it a stir and then a try and see if there's anything we need to add to it. All right, I think that seasoning is good. If anyone needs to add more salt and pepper, they can. I'm going to leave it covered for another 5 minutes because the rice is still a little bit on the harder side. So I think another 5 minutes and it should be fine. That 5 minutes did the trick. Here is our dinner number 4. Just so y'all know, this is a big pan. It will be plenty to feed 4 people. There's that tomato that we didn't use. Figure out something for the next meal. All right, we're going to sit down and enjoy our dinner. All right, our last extreme budget meal. So tonight it is Saturday night for us, so I wanted to make it a little bit fun. So we are going to be having a pizza, a bacon pizza, and then we're going to have, there's something missing. Oh, hang on, the tortillas are missing. All right, I got the little corn tortillas over here. So we're going to be making a pizza with bacon on it, and then we're also going to have little mini tacos with bean salsa and cheese. That's the plan anyway. I'm going to mash some of the beans, and then I'm going to leave some of the beans whole. I got to make that pizza crust. I'm going to shred the cheeses. I'm going to start with shredding the cheese. Here we have the leftover veggies, and I'm just going to serve. I'm going to slice up the tomato, and then those can be served as veggies on the side. And then in here we have the rest of the pasta sauce, and that I'm going to use as pizza sauce. Should be fine. I've done it before. Here we go. I'm getting the bacon turned on. That's going to cook. I need to still prep this. Whoa, I'm still zoomed in. Okay, I still need to prep this pizza crust. It says it takes 5 minutes to prep and then a few minutes to pre-cook. I've got the beans mashed. I opened up the salsa and gave it a little try. It's a bit spicy for me. I mixed them up here with the whole beans and the refried beans and the salsa, and I think I am going to combine it like that. I'm going to go ahead and get that pizza crust started, and then that should be ready by the time the bacon is done. So the pizza crust is 1/2 cup of warm water. Now I'm gonna let it sit for 5 minutes. I'm just following the instructions on the back here. All right, so the instructions say to make sure your fingers are greased, so that's what I'm gonna do. My pan is greased and my fingers are greased so that we can spread the dough. Okay. I think this might work out. So now I'm just spreading it around. See if I can do this without a roller. I'm gonna get my roller out. There, I think that'll work. Now it wants me to pre-bake it for 2 to 3 minutes at 425. So I gotta wait for it to preheat to 425 and then I will do that. And then we're gonna add our toppings. And this is going to come together very quickly. Okay, we have our crust. I'm gonna put the sauce on, then the cheese, then the bacon, and some more cheese, and in the oven it goes. Got everything here. I've got my tortillas here. My pan is already warm. I have my bean and salsa mixture, and I have my cheese. And I'm just gonna build these. Here we go. These are going pretty well. My battery is running low, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the charger while I do the rest of these. So I'm just putting some bean mixture in, some cheese mixture in, and pan frying them until they're nice and crispy. Our fun Saturday meal is complete. We have 10 mini tacos. I will mention that I had to start rationing out the cheese. It's barely enough for the 10 of them, but there was enough. And then we have, this is the leftover refried beans. I thought, well, I'll just serve it on the side. Maybe somebody will want it. You know, if you have tortilla chips at home, you can always make combine the rest of the salsa with the beans and you have a bean dip. And then I had a lot of bits while I was cooking those, so I just put the rest of the pinto beans, the whole pinto beans that were left in there. If somebody wants them, they can eat them. If not, that's all right. If we don't eat this tonight, it'll just be safe for a Taco Tuesday meal. Then we have our veggies, and here, look at this pizza. It turned out great. You know, you probably do the pizza alone and feed us 4, but Saturday fun day. I guess it's usually Friday fun day, but you know what? This landed on a Saturday. All right, that was the last meal. I think we did fairly well for $25. This was a really good week of extreme budgeting dinners. Everyone felt very satisfied. No one was hungry, and it was actually really good tasting. But you guys, that is all for me this week. I highly encourage you to not give up hope. In the grocery stores, you can absolutely still find a good deal these days and create something wonderful out of it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you will like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.